Good evening, viewers. You're watching The Big Anvil, and I'm your host, Anvil the Evil. Tonight we're going to analyze a story the music industry tries to make us forget. You might think the rise of Michael Jackson was a fairy tale, a road to success paved by sheer talent. But the truth is, behind the crown of the king of pop, there was a constant battle. An act of perseverance against a system that wasn't prepared for a black king. In the early 80s, the music world was a divided empire. Pop radio and the nascent MTV had their doors closed to black artists. But then, Michael Jackson didn't just knock on the door. He knocked it down. With the album Thriller, he didn't just break records. He shattered racial barriers. Thriller became the best-selling album in music history, a feat the industry had never seen. It wasn't just about sales. Michael Jackson transformed the music video into an art form and forced MTV to play his music and show his image. He didn't ask for permission. He demanded his place on the global stage, and in doing so, he didn't just anoint himself. He paved the way for the next generation of black artists. And speaking of kings, there was another genius who wanted the crown. Born in the same year, with the same creative command, and the same goal of dominating the music world, Michael Jackson and Prince engaged in a legendary rivalry. While Michael shaped pop with an R&B flair, Prince mixed funk with rock, defying all the rules. The media and fans watched the battle of the two giants. When Michael Jackson was about to release the album Bad, the pressure was unbelievable. He had to prove that the success of Thriller was no accident. The battle was not just against the industry, but against the only other artist who could claim his throne. But Michael Jackson's trial by fire didn't come from Prince. It came from the public. The world that had celebrated him as a genius artist also became obsessed with his image. When the album Bad, the most anticipated follow-up in music history, was released, something strange happened. The controversy over the change in his skin color began to dominate headlines. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't about his art, but about his appearance. The album Bad was a massive success, selling 35 million copies. But it didn't come close to Thriller's sales. For many, there was an unofficial boycott, a moment when part of the public and the media turned away from the artist, focusing on the controversy and not the music. But Michael Jackson didn't bow down. He continued to break records. The album Bad spawned 5 singles that went straight to #1. Something no other artist had ever done. Even in the face of adversity, he continued to innovate. His choreography, his stage presence, and his music became even more impactful. He didn't let the controversy define him. Instead, he used his talent to prove that his art was greater than any conversation about his appearance. And because of that, even with the adversity, Michael Jackson held his position, cementing his eternal place as the king of pop. But the final argument for his relevance is this: even after his death, Michael Jackson continues to be the most relevant artist in music history. His catalog sells millions of copies every year. His songs continue to reach new audiences on streaming platforms, and his cultural influence remains unshakable. Today's industry can create viral stars whose success lasts a year or two, but his art and his genius transcend life, proving that true talent has no expiration date. And here we come to a dark and speculative point, but one that is the subject of millions of conversations among fans. Michael Jackson died in 2009, a victim of a propofol overdose. Prince in 2016, of an accidental fentanyl overdose. That's the official story. But for many, the story doesn't end there. There are those who believe both were silenced. Michael Jackson was in a public war with Sony, accusing the label of sabotage and exposing what he called conspiracies against him. To some, he became too great a threat, and his death was convenient for the industry. Prince, in turn, was a rebel against major labels. He fought for years to have total control over his music, his masters, and his art. To rebel against Warner Brothers. He even changed his name to an unpronounceable symbol, becoming the artist formerly known as Prince. His death, for many, came at the peak of his fight. Was it a coincidence? Or is the music industry, with its billions of dollars at stake, capable of silencing the most powerful voices who fight against it? The world lost two geniuses born in the same year. Two souls who, with their music, changed the universe. Michael and Prince left us tragically and prematurely. The lights went out too early for one's choreography and for the other's guitar riffs. They could have created a historical moment together, like on We Are the World, where Michael co-wrote the song, but Prince, for reasons never fully explained, did not participate. It is the perfect example of how the ideal world does not always happen. But in the end, their talent overcame death. They are no longer with us, but their voices, their songs, and their innovations remain. Their works are an eternal testament to their lives and their passion. The melodies they left behind are proof that, even with the battles and the adversities, the art and the love for it are the only legacies that survive forever. Now, let's talk about the cold reality of the scoreboard. Let's talk about perfection right here, right now. My last two videos, they totaled 207 views. 207. That isn't a whisper in the crowd. That is a direct challenge. That number is a signal that the message is not sharp enough. The execution is not flawless enough, and the delivery is not powerful enough. Michael Jackson didn't accept the sales drop of Bad as his final answer. He went on to create Dangerous in history with those 5 straight #1 singles. Prince didn't quit when they changed his name. He turned himself into a living symbol of rebellion. This is not a reason to stop. This is a map to what needs to be fixed. We create not just because the message matters, but because the message must be undeniable. We will not be stopped by a number that small. We will not be defeated by an algorithm. That 207 is a reminder that there is always another level of mastery to achieve. We show up, but more importantly, we will show up better. In the end, it doesn't matter what the platform says. The commitment to excellence is the only legacy that survives forever. Defiance is the bridge between mediocrity and mastery. See you next Sunday.